A game on a 9x9 board is one big tactical fight. Now that the board is bigger, it gains another strategic dimension. It becomes more complex but more exciting. But now when you're looking at this empty board of possibilities, you might start asking questions like, where do I begin? Which point should I choose? Why are we doing this? To answer some of these questions, let me show you this example first. Here you can see 3 territories made by black. They're the same shape and the same size, 9 points. But something is different. Have a look. To make this territory in the corner, black only needed 6 stones. To make this one, he needed 9. And to make this territory in the center, black needed 12 stones. Now, why is that? It's quite simple. Because both sides of the board are helping black make this territory in the corner. Here, one side is helping black, and in the center it's more difficult, because the center is open from every direction, so white can approach and reduce and invade from anywhere, and it also takes more stones. A similar principle is sometimes used when building cities. So sometimes a city will be founded next to a river or a sea, so that river or sea will serve as a natural protection against enemy. Naturally, a logical principle follows here. Corners, sides, center. So typically, players will start with placing their stones in the corners, because it's easier to build territory there. After that, they will switch to the sides, and only after the corners and the sides have been taken, they will start building something in the center where it's more difficult. Of course, this corner, side, center principle doesn't work every time. It's not an absolute panacea. But it's a very good guiding star in the ocean of possibilities at the beginning of the game. So we have to start with the corners, but where exactly? The corners are huge. Which point do we pick? Let's start with the most obvious one, and play in the corner. This is a serious contender for the most useless move at the beginning of the game. We're trying to surround territory, and this move doesn't take any territory at all. At the same time, it only has 2 liberties, so it's going to be very easy for your opponent to capture it. So let's play a little bit further away from the corner. It's not quite obvious how much territory we're taking now, so let's add a couple more stones to it. Now with 3 stones, we've surrounded 1 point of territory. That doesn't sound very good. So in general, we should try to stay away from the first and second lines at the beginning of the game, unless it's absolutely necessary. I'm going to show you 3 moves that you can use on any board, on 9x9, on this one, and on 19x19. So the first move is this, 3-3. Sometimes you will hear it being called san-san, which literally means 3-3 in Japanese. A lot of beginners are scared that their opponent can attack, approach, and take the corner away from them. If you're feeling like this, then you should probably try this move. It's very safe, solid, and secure. And it doesn't matter how white approaches this corner, you can always keep it. But the territory probably won't be very big. If you're feeling more adventurous, then the second move is probably the opposite of this one, which is even further away from the corner, 4-4. Notice that it's placed on this dot. This dot is called hoshi in Japanese, which means a star. So sometimes in English, this point is also referred to as a star point. This move is very ambitious. It's directed towards the center. It can attack, it can build walls, but at the same time, if at any point white invades in the corner, and white probably will, then white will take the corner away from you. And black will get a wall that he can use to create some potential territory elsewhere. So this move doesn't really guarantee you the corner. If it bothers you, then maybe you shouldn't play it. The first experiments with this move started in the first half of the 20th century. And now, today, this move is probably the most popular move in modern Go. You will see it in almost every opening of every professional player's game. So, if you're feeling bold, adventurous, and you want to try an experiment, try this move in your games. But if you're scared that you can lose your corner territory, well, maybe you should try our next move, which is somewhat in between the 3-3 and the 4-4. it's 3-4, like this, or symmetrically here, which is the same. 3-4 is an absolute classic. It was played for generations, for centuries and centuries by professional players. And, well, it's quite deserved, because this move is also quite territorial. So if your opponent approaches, you can always keep the corner territory if you want, but it's more flexible. So you can always try and shift to something else. You can try and attack, you can try and build the outside. And also, for example, in combination with this move, with only 2 stones, you're getting a whole corner. This corner is sometimes called a corner without problems, because with only 2 stones, you're getting this whole thing, and it's going to be very difficult for your opponent to invade and take it away from you. So it's a classic. It's not very simple, but it's quite flexible and interesting. Now, if both players follow the corner, side, center principle, a game might start, for example, like this. Black takes the first corner. White takes the second. Black takes the corner, both corners with 3-4. White takes the corner safely with 3-3. Now, black defends one of the corners and also develops onto the upper side. White does the same thing at the bottom. And now black invades the left side and approaches the upper left corner at the same time. Some kind of fight will follow from here, but we'll talk about that later. And now let's see what happens if one of the players decides not to follow the principle. Let's say, instead of playing in the corner, black wants to start the game from the center. So black plays the first move in the center. White takes the corner. After having occupied the center, black decides to take the sides. So black takes one side. White continues taking the corners. Another side. Corner. Side. Corner. And black takes the last side. And white can probably start defending one of the corners like this. It's quite difficult to say how much territory black has at this point, because black's territory in the center is open from all 4 sides. White can easily reduce and invade it from here, from here, from here, from here, and it's going to be very difficult for black to cover this territory and close it. At the same time, white at this point has all 4 corners, and also one of the corners is already enclosed. So white is definitely ahead on territory in this game. I hope you really understand this corner, side, center principle. And to check your understanding, I think it's time to have a look at some problems. See if you can solve them all correctly.